Trying to help as much as we can, and got a quick guard on him up top and trying to pressure him as much as we can when he has the basketball.
Coach, you play against and coach all the top players in high school basketball. How do you rate LeBron James at a historical level in your 18 years as coach of Oak Hill?
Great shot, Dale. He's the best I've seen. I gotta give due where it's due, and I've seen a lot of the great guys. I've coached some great players. I've seen McGrady in high school, and Grant Hill, and Kevin Garnett, and all those guys. Vince Carter, had Jerry Stackhouse, myself, and Ron Mercer, and he's the best I've seen at this stage. And it's time will tell if he's as good as advertised, and if he keeps his head on straight, he probably will be.
Coach, thanks very much for the time. Good luck.
Sure, thank you.
Steve Smith, the head coach at Oak Hill.
I'll tell you one thing, what a record he's put together in his 18 years. He took over for Larry Davis, who's now coaching Furman, was originally, as you watch him on the offensive play on the interior. There he is with the backdoor cut, starting to move a little bit more without the ball. I mean, I'll tell you what, I got one eye, Bill. I don't have two eyes like you, but I'm watching about 10 minutes here, and if that kid doesn't have stardom all over him, there's only one guy that's going to stop him from being a star, and his name is LeBron James.
Why would you let him backdoor?
Why are you going to be critical on that backdoor cut?
No. Why not just play him at the basket area and force him to receive coming out? Now, number 4, Isaiah Swan has done a good job in the early going, just loses total contact with him.
Yeah, he really did. Had no vision of ball and man. You got to watch both.
Dick, let me ask you, you brought up a point. The only guy who can stop LeBron James is LeBron James. Talk about what a 17-year-old is going through, outside influences, having his head on straight, like Steve Smith said. How do you feel about all that?
Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? How many college guys or NBA guys can make that pass in transition? In the NBA, that's a jam for a dunk. I mean, I got goosebumps watching that. That made me think of the Magic Man. Are you kidding? Take a look at that pass, Mr. Walton.
He seems to have overcome a sluggish start.
Hey, that's a great question. I'll tell you, Bill and I will discuss that. You know, he asked about stopping himself. I think the biggest fear is he's got to be so concerned about the leeches and all the people around him and how to separate and get those out of his life and deal with those that genuinely love and care about him. Because unfortunately, Bill, he's going to have so many around him. You know and I know we hear about exploitation, and that worries me because there is a lot of that going on here. People already now thinking of ways they can make money in an unsavory way off this teenager. Your feelings about that?
The choices he makes as to who his friends will be, who his advisors will be, and he has to go. He is at the top. He has to pick people who are already at the top and who are not looking to make it themselves on this young player's capabilities.
I'll tell you the one thing I love about him. Any kid that speaks so unbelievably lovingly about his mom can't be a bad kid. And all he ever talks about is how I want to take care of my mom. Reminiscent to me of a friend I have by the name of Alex Rodriguez, who took care of his mom once he got the riches and fame as a baseball player.
Here comes James leading the Irish out. They were down big early, but there's another no-look feed.
There's what we're talking about, instincts, feel for the game. I mean, that is just so special, Bill.
The sense of where you are that we learned from Bill Bradley as a St. Louis high school phenom. LeBron James is moving right now at a different speed than everyone else.
Well, he's doing what you said earlier he was not doing. He has picked up the energy level, and the energy level really has him in another gear, and it's made his other people better. You know what the bottom line is? When you're special, and there aren't many guys in the NBA who make their teammates more efficient, I think he has that potential.
And you can sense the way he has lifted them right now. They're rebounding better. They're catching the ball better. They're feeding off his energy and his enthusiasm, and it's clicking right now for St. Vincent St. Mary's, and they have the lead over the previously undefeated #1 Oak Hill Warriors.
Dan Schulman, Dick Vitale, Bill Walton. And let's get Jay Billis in on this as well. Jay was talking to us last night about LeBron James. And Jay, in your opinion, the gap between James and whoever might be the second best high school player in the country, is it really that big a gap?
It's pretty big, Dan. I think the second best player is probably Luol Deng, who is out of a prep school in Massachusetts. And You know, I do think that LeBron James is the real thing. He is as good as advertised. I've thought so for the last couple of years. And more to the point of his passing ability that you were talking about, I think one of the interesting things is most great players at the high school level, when they're on the break and can take it on their own, would take it on their own and dunk it or take it to the basket. James looks to get his teammates involved, and that's really unique. He sees the game at a different level and a different pace.
Jay, the only thing that I really would, right now, if you had to be a little critical in analyzing his game, is shot selection and his ability to consistently make that perimeter shot.
Well, he's still 17 years old. I mean, he does have a long way to go, but certainly, you know, I think starting out this game settling for jump shots was not in his best interest as a player nor in his team's, but he has settled down and he has really shown himself to be a team player. That's what he is.
Offensive foul by Byron Joins, all 6'9" and 300 pounds of him.
He looks to me like he can do whatever he wants out there, and it's a matter of choice. Whether he wants to float to the perimeter and jack up some shots, slash and penetrate, get out in transition, dominate the boards. When you have that kind of versatility, there is no limit to the future.
You know, people talk about hype, but the bottom line is you can't hide talent. No. You can't hide talent. When you're gifted, whether you're Venus Williams or Tiger Woods or a young guy like this, you cannot hide their unbelievable skills and ability.
James misses the jumper. Reynolds at the other end, and they got him clean, and St. Vincent St. Mary's got it back. Travis James.
He got away with one there. I tell you, he was ready for a windmill jam. He's so quick in transition, Bill.
The quality of the overall game has really picked up. Players were very sluggish in the opening quarter, but now everybody seems to be very warm.
Lob at the other end, and it doesn't go. St. Vincent with the lead. James now with 12.
And I'll tell you, Steve Smith's club is not your average high school team. They got 5 Division I players in their lineup. 3 have already committed to Connecticut, Virginia, and Ohio State.
Count the basket for Drew Joyce.
This game has completely turned around. It happened on that dunk.
It did. It really dunked.
It energized the crowd. It gave confidence to the St. Vincent St. Mary squad, who seemed to be a bit intimidated.
It gave them momentum. It really did. Gave them unbelievable momentum. Then they get a little bounce there.
And one thing that James has said, yeah, he wants to put on a show, first time on national TV and all that. But remember, these two schools have met each of the last 2 years, and both times Oak Hill has won. So James doesn't want to go 0 for 3 in his career against this kind of a program.
Well, let me tell you how I knew he was a player. Last year, I'm driving in my car with my wife, and all of a sudden the phone rings. And a guy I think you know, we all know in basketball, he's like a David Runyon character, important to the game. Howard Garfinkel, 5-star guard,
Howard
calls up and he says, Dickie V, I just watched the best high school player I've ever seen at this stage in high school. I was in Trenton, New Jersey. I saw him against Oak Hill, against Carmelo Anthony. And he was talking naturally about Mr. James. That's when I knew the kid had to be legitimate.
How he missed Wilt. How he missed Oscar, missed Kareem.
I guess in those days they didn't have the kind of AAU tournaments.
There was nothing like that.
Today. No, nothing like that. Nothing like they have today.
You could only play for your school. Only in organized sessions.
A double on James on the perimeter. He swings it to the open man, Marcus Johnson, but Johnson, just a freshman, misses a jumper.
I'm glad that Bill just mentioned that, but that's why today, Bill, all these diaper dandies are playing right away on a collegiate level because of the fact they don't come in intimidated anymore and have so much experience.
When we come back, we'll check in on the travel schedules that both of these schools are going through this year. Back here in Cleveland, a 3-point lead for St. Vincent St. Mary over the #1 team in the country, Oak Hill Academy out of Virginia. Well, Bill Walton flew up from San Antonio today. Dick Vitale flew up from Sarasota. They've got nothing on these travel programs. This is what the Fighting Irish of St. Vincent St. Mary, some of the places they are going during this year. Of course, Cleveland here just about 45 minutes away from their hometown of Akron. And now for Oak Hill, it's really the same story. Steve Smith, their head coach, did tell us, though, that Las Vegas tournament, that Houston tournament, they're over Christmas. He says his kids are only going to miss 4 days of school all year doing all that travel because of the Christmas holidays and weekends.
You know, I've been on a lot of shows, radio shows. I mean, the last couple of days, I've been on so many, including Michael Kay with ESPN. Earlier this week, Mr. Golick and Mr. Greenberg do a great job. Tim Brando, who I respect, who really was questioning me about exploitation and made some great points that you got to really wonder sometimes about exploitation. What are your feelings about that, Bill?
It's not LeBron James' fault that this is all happening. He's just living in the world that we've all created.
All of us. We're all part of it.
And so many things going on around him, swirling around him. One of the things we tried to impress upon these young people is that they are high school students and that they should enjoy this time. They will never get this time back in their life.
You and I had a chance to speak to